Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
For newcomers and old-timers alike, the Chloe Sanctuary hopes to give you insight into the health and happiness of your companion parrots. We hope to help you build happy homes using reliable and proven tools. The best homes are built on a rock-solid foundation. And the best foundation for a happy home is the bedrock of science. When we stand on the shoulders of giants, the scientists who have worked long and diligently to understand our companions, we can reach new heights of understanding. And understanding is the key to success. What does avian veterinary medicine have to tell us about our feathered friends? How can we prevent illness, see the signs of disease before it's too late, and care for our birds through ill health? What light does behavioral science shed on their nature, needs, and hopes? How can the tools of behavior shaping make our homes happier for us and our companions? How can we deal with biting, screaming, or other misbehavior? What is it like to live among parrots? Let them roam around about you and share a life with them. How much freedom do you give them? What happens if you form a bond of trust with them? Watch and see what understanding their true nature can do for you. Come with us on a journey as we do more than examine a parrot's world. We live in it. Make some popcorn and bring in a few wood blocks. Let everyone have something to chew and a comfortable place to perch. Cockatude is a presentation of the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.
Hi, and welcome to Cockatude 41. Navigating the stormy seas of parrot training. Yeah! The stormy seas. I'm Don Scott of the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos. And this is Cecil. Hi Cecil. Can you say Cecil? He's one of the ones that doesn't like the cameras, and he kind of goes, whenever there's cameras in here. Because that's a bunch of extra stuff, as you can see in this overview. There's actually a webcam and 2 iPhones recording this, and then there's a microphone stand that has a Zoom audio on it, right? Who else do we have with us today? Do you want to introduce them? No, you don't. Yeah, you just got that look. That's the look that Cecil gives. Let's see if you can show everybody when the room's got cameras in it and the lights are on full. We have Peaches. Hi, Peaches. Hey, Peaches. Hi, Peaches. There's a Peach. Chloe. And just recently, I've been able to reintroduce. Get out. Now you get away from her. Come on. Get away from her. Get up. Go over here. Get back where I put you. Yeah. Stay away from the females. Come here. Come here. Come on, sweetie. Come on. Come on. No. Lorelai, come here then. Okay, so I was trying to get him down, but he likes to play up there, so I've got to keep him away from the females because Snowball has started the mate aggression problem. And once a male becomes aggressive to females, you have to be careful. So this is the first week that he's been out with Chloe. I have to watch him close, but so far, keeping an observation. So far, observing him and paying attention has worked just fine. He's doing well. Lorelai's sitting there on the perch. I kind of mentioned her. And the big guy, there he is. Hey, Salamander, what's up? Yeah, you looking at all this again? You've seen it before. Hey, don't go up there. Don't go up there. That's just a door chime, and if they try to get up on the windowsill, it goes off. So it keeps them from chewing the windowsill. Sugar's up there on the perch, as usual. Hi, Shug. Hi, Shug. How about a tail flash? Sugar. Tail flash. Come on, Shug. Tail flash. Come on. You can do it. No, not today. Sugar, please. Just a tail flash. All right. A little preening, that's fine. That'll work. Babaloo. I think I've introduced everybody that we have with us today. So navigating the stormy seas of parrot training. The reason I said seas, and it's a letter C, not C as in, you gonna be nice over there? Come here, come here, come here. You don't need to be that close to her. She gets a little aggressive too. She's used to protecting a nest. And once they become mate bonded, their personality changes. It's kind of like after a person gets married, you know, the first time. That's kind of where it is. So, right, Chloe? Chloe, say hi. Chloe, say hi. Hey. Oh, you figured out I left my shoes on. Yes, I don't normally leave my shoes on here. So, one thing, I have several birds, and this is not an uncommon thing. I'm going to put them in my disposer down here. I have a little ottoman. Are you okay there? It's all right. It's all right there, Snowball. It's okay. Just getting my shoes off so you won't do anything crazy. Okay? But it's not uncommon for birds to attack shoes. I'd say maybe 1 out of every 5 does that. Who knows why? If you have thick shoes, this is not a problem. Come here. Come here. No. No. Come here. Come on. Come on. You're not going to sit by Chloe. Yeah, it's not going to happen. You can come sit over with me, okay? Okay? Snowball? Snowball? I don't think I officially introduced you. We hope you will consider supporting us on Patreon today. This is how it works. We produce up to 2 videos a month. As a patron, you pledge to give us a donation, whatever you feel is right and meets your budget. Patreon gives us your gift monthly. You can easily set a limit on how much you donate a month. You can change the amount of your pledge at any time. Your gift will allow us to continue bringing you entertaining and informative videos. Patreon.com/Chloe Sanctuary. We look forward to your participation in Cockatude. But the reason I'm talking about the stormy seas is actually kind of a play on something in applied behavior analysis, which is the 3 C's, okay? We're going to start with that. We're going to talk about the 3 C's, and then we're going to talk about some general training guidelines. And their guidelines, you should treat them as strict rules in the beginning, and as you get more proficient in working with birds, you can start bending and twisting some of them. Not all, but you can bend and twist some of them. You don't want to bend, if you have a sick bird, you don't want to bend that rule. You don't train a sick bird. But Chloe, come on over. Nice flight. Hey, Bob. Well done, little girl. Baby girl. She likes to be called baby girl. There's a whole story behind that, but I don't have the time to tell that story. At some point, we'll have to come up with the story of Lorelai, why she likes to hear baby girl. But the 3 C's, okay, we're going to start with that, then we're going to go through general training. So, the 3 C's are, and one of these is going to throw you when I say it at first, but don't, it's all right, I'll explain it. It's consistency, okay? Contiguity, that's one that most people haven't heard. And the other one is contingency, okay? So you have consistency, contiguity, and contingency. Okay, consistency. You know how everybody, when you're working, if you work a day job, you get a paycheck, and you know, some people get it once a month, most people get it like on Friday, or they get it once a week. Hello, Peaches. They get it once a week. So, I don't know if you've ever been in a business where, for some reason, the checks don't come on time. You know, somebody's used to getting their check and then going to lunch, and they go to the bank and they do all that. And what happens when someone comes out of the office and says, you know, the checks haven't come yet. We're not sure when they're going to be here. There's a problem, you know, and you know, might be here later in the day. There's a lot of yelling and screaming sometimes from some people. There's muttering among others, but few people don't react to that. There are a few people who say, "Oh, I don't care." There are some, okay, and with automatic deposit today, this is not as much of a problem, but it still exists. Now with birds, it's the same way, and with consistency is, can you imagine if let's say that you required consistency so much that you expected to get your check on Friday at exactly 11 o'clock, have someone hand it to you with their left hand, okay, while they're smiling and shaking their head and saying thank you, okay? So every time it was thank you, thank you. And you would get upset if someone came over with the right hand and handed you the check, or if they didn't smile, or if they didn't nod their head. This may seem obsessive, but here's the thing. They don't understand English. That doesn't mean they don't understand certain words in the environment. They do. They understand words in context. It's a rudimentary kind of, it is kind of a language. They really do that, and there's evidence from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. They actually found that birds were taught their names by their parents, and then they learned the names of everyone else in the flock, and they could call people by name. I mean, call birds. To me, they're like people. They could call another bird by name, and then choose to go do something. Hi, Lorelei. Don't chase Lorelei, Chloe. Chloe, you be nice. You be nice to her. That's your daughter. Be nice. It's Chloe's adopted daughter. Since they don't understand language, by consistency, we're strict. We mean that if you're training a bird to do something, and you offer the treat a certain way, the treat is offered like this, or it's offered with 3 fingers like this, don't move it around. Don't hand the treat this way one time, and then hand the treat, you know, up like this one time. Deliver it the same way every time. If you do this, or if you do this, if you use 3 fingers, or if you use 2 fingers, make it the same each time. If it's going to look like an okay sign, then make an okay sign every time. That way they know what to expect. They're seeing that same thing. If they see this every time, if they see this every time, if they see this every time, whatever's easiest for you, just stick to it. So consistency is much more than what you're used to. You're used to, I get my check around 11 o'clock. No, it doesn't work that way with them. They get their treat exactly at a certain point. They're used to that. That's the way it's done. With the same hand, the same body motions. The closer you can make yourself into a robot, you guys okay down there? Are you stealing his spot again? You're getting good about letting them do that. This is his area. He likes to have that, and these two move in and take it over. And you're getting awfully good about letting him do that, and I'm not sure. I mean, everybody would say you're the least likely to, but now he's preening snowballs. So when we talk about consistency, we mean consistent. And that means that when you're training and when you're learning to train your bird, and we're talking about like you can train them all around in different situations. If you got a bird who's screaming, you may be training them in their cage. When they make a certain sound that you like, you're responding to that one. Or any other sound that you like, you respond to that. You don't respond to the scream. That's training too. I mean, you train all the time, really, and they're training you too. But when you have them on a perch, you want to have them on a perch. You're going to be consistent. The perch for training is going to be in the same spot every time you train. It's going to be you're going to make the same body motions. You're going to train the same way. So if you're training step up, a good example of step up, this is my method for step up, is I have my hand closed, not a tight fist, just hand loosely closed. Bird sits over here on another perch, and I do the okay sign, okay? I have the treat like this. Now the okay sign has a number of reasons. If you've got a bird that's, hi baby, very nice, you want to do another? You got a second verse? Oh, very good. Good girl. Nice song. Nice song, Peaches. Nice song. If you have a bird that tends to bite fingers, you may only want to use these two fingers to produce it. But I do it like this. Been doing it like this for a long time. So my hand's out like this. And at first, I'll bring my hand up like this. And depending on the bird, how nervous it is, you can do the same action slowly. They take the treat from your hand, okay? Then when you do it again, you have the same look. I'm going to do it like I'm working with a bird. If Bob doesn't get into an altercation down here. Now, I try to make my face look bright, but I don't smile, okay? And I think I'm lucky. Genetically, my smile, nobody can see it. My former wives, each one of them said that I never smile. I do, it just doesn't really show on my face. Even without the mustache, which Bob requires, it doesn't really show. So the reason you don't smile is what does an animal that is about to eat you do? It bares its teeth. And when we smile, we bare our teeth. And that, to a prey animal, especially one that doesn't know you well, that's not a good thing, baring your teeth, okay? It means they're about to be eaten. So be consistent, and each time you can just drag your hand. Watch this again. And eventually what you get to is this point where the bird has to get 1 foot on you in order to get the treat. And before long, you've pulled back all the way where the bird has to step up. And each time, you're rewarding them. It's like, good bird. Good bird. And you can get more animated if that's something you can go, good bird. Some birds, when you're working with them, won't take that animation in the beginning. So later on, you'll add more animation to it. But be consistent. And that doesn't mean to use your left hand, and you can see I can barely even do it. I can't do my left hand because I always do it the same way with this arm, this hand, same basic facial positions, everything. So you want to be kind of robotic, and the reason is it's easier for them to understand. If you're coming from different angles, it's like people, like your boss coming up and say, oh, you're going to have you're going to get your check on Wednesday this week. And then next week it's like, oh, you're getting your check on Friday morning. And that lack of consistency will bug you about getting your check. With these guys, everything has to be exact. And that's just so that they know what you're doing. If you're coming from different places and doing different things, you okay, Bob? All right. And doing different things, it's going to be hard for them to figure it out. They're smart. You're not doing this because they're dumb. You're doing this because they're smart. I remember with Roman, who's not in here because he doesn't like to come in here. He just runs back here and hides behind my neck and says, I love you, and puts his head against my neck. Especially in this situation. But with him, one day I was putting him back in his cage and I was giving him a treat for getting back in his cage. And he said, as I went to hand him the treat, which I do on a stick, and it's always, when I hand the stick out, it's just like this, okay? So I hand the stick out like this, and I stop before he says it. I say, "Who do you love?" And he said, "Hello." And I was in a hurry, and I wasn't paying attention, and I gave him the stick anyway. So now, 1 out of 10 times, he says hello instead of "I love you." I broke my consistency of giving him that reward and attaching it directly to that, to the "I love you," and now I have to train him out of it. So when he says hello, I just hold the stick there, and then I repeat the cue. "Who do you love?" If he says hello, I just go, "Who do you love?" And I hold it there, and then I'll back up and I'll put the stick out again, and I'll say, "Who do you love?" And if by the third time he hasn't got it, he says hello again, or he just looks at me, then I just walk away. Now, what happens if I walk away, by the time I've taken about 3 steps back, he says, "I love you." Okay? So in a way, I've trained him to say "I love you" when I walk 3 steps back. When he first started doing that, it was 1 in every 2 he'd throw in the hello. Now we're down to 1 in 10, so it'll fade, and eventually he won't say it, and then he'll throw it in like once a month. That's what's going to happen. That's called resurgence. That's when a behavior that they had comes back. It's called resurgence. So be consistent.
If you are enjoying our videos, we hope that you can find it in your heart to support our work. It costs between $25,000 to $30,000 a year to care for our flock of heartbroken and abused birds. Most of our birds came with feather destructive disorder. Even a basic exam with blood work costs $300. Medical emergencies cost us thousands a year. We are a non-profit, and donations are tax-deductible to the full extent of the law. We need your support. Birds deserve a happy and healthy life. Become our patron at www.patreon.com/Chloe Sanctuary to support us on a per-video basis, or donate at our webpage today.
The next thing is contiguity. And contiguity, you'll think of it this way. If you live in the United States, and not all of our viewers do, we have quite a few viewers from around the world. Some of which are pretty darn sharp on getting the process of labeling down, so they don't label anymore, so that they can use the Behavior's Fantastic Four. They're learning to use that, and I'm in communication with some pretty sharp people over there. But anyway, if you're in the United States, then this is called the contiguous. There's the contiguous United States, right, which is the states that are right next to each other, and then there's Alaska, which isn't connected. And there's Hawaii, which isn't connected. Those are not contiguous, okay? So that's what contiguity means. It's right next to each other. I mean, they're that close. So by contiguity means that when they do the behavior, you give them the reward. And again, using consistency, you want to give them the reward the same way. But you want to make sure that reward matches the exact moment. Okay, there's this training technique we use, which is basically you have one person who says, "I'm going to be the parrot," and another one says, "I'm going to be the trainer." So the parrot leaves the room, and everybody in the training session says, "Well, what are we going to have this person do?" So someone says, "Well, we're going to have him open the door." So Jim's going to open the door, okay? So you have him come in, say, "Close the door," and he comes in. And then the trainer, the only thing that Jim has to do is move around a little bit. That's the only rule, is that the trainee, the parrot, has to move around a little bit. So they have to kind of turn their head and move their body around. And when they happen to be facing in close to the door, close to that direction, you clap. Now they're facing the door. So then, so they take a step forward, clap again. If at some point, and it's easy to do, you clap at the wrong time just a little bit, next they're coming over to the couch. So now they're walking towards the couch, which isn't right. So they get to the couch, and they're just kind of standing there doing this, going back and forth, looking like this, and when their head faces the door again, bam, then they look at the door. And they turn their head away, they look back at the door. They turn their head away, they look back at the door. It's like, oh, okay, so then they start walking towards the door. So then they get to the door and they're looking at the door, right? And they're just kind of standing there going like this. They turn away, nothing, turning away, looking at the door. Okay, looking at the door, looking away, nothing, looking at the door. Looking away, okay, it's the door, all right. And they get their hands up and they get their hand close to the knob. Oh, close to the knob, okay, well. Keep clapping a little bit each time as he gets closer to the knob. So Jim finally grabs the knob, clap, turns the knob, clap, opens the door, and it's, you're flooding them with a reward for doing the right thing. You practice that. You do that in a group, and you'll find out what it's like to be trained as a parrot, because no words are involved and just a signal, okay? You're just getting a cue. This is the right action. So contiguity means you want to get that reward in there at the exact moment. Well, you know, it's not always possible. You can't always get that reward just dead on. And if you don't, how are they going to know they're right? That's where we use a thing called the bridging stimulus. In simple terms, we just call it a bridge. So you're bridging between the actual behavior and the reward. And the way you do that is when somebody does the right thing, babaloo, babaloo, step up, Bob, step up, step up. Come on, Bob, step up, step up. But you're too busy with these guys. Come here, step up. Good boy. Okay, he stepped up, and I said good boy at that moment. The exact moment that he did that. But if he was across the room, and he's doing something I'm trying to stop him from doing, and I say, Bob, no, like that, I gotta be careful. He'd get upset, so I'll pick another name. Fred, no. And he stops. Good boy. Now, they might just come over and want to be petted. Some birds are like that. Other birds, you may have to give them a reward. They'll come tooling over to get their reward. So you keep some rewards in your pocket. But the bridge lets them know, that's the right behavior, I'm going to get a reward. And then you give them the reward as fast as you can after that. So the thing about contiguity is that you simply want to get that reward there as fast as you can. And if you can't reward them at the exact moment that they do the right thing, then you need to give them a bridge. And the bridge is just good bird, good boy, good girl, good parrot. Be consistent though. If you say good boy like I do with him, don't keep changing it around. Don't say good parrot. Don't say, don't use different phrases. Stick with the one. Good bird works well. You'll get everybody in the room if you got a lot of birds that happen to be in the room and you're working with another. If you say good bird, you may get several birds looking at you. So keep that in mind. What are you doing down there? What are you getting nippy for? Because the cameras are up? Because the cameras are up? So it's important to deliver the reward at the exact moment that it needs to be there. The exact moment the behavior happens. So 2, that's you dropped your wood there, kid. So along with that line, when a bird steps up on your arm, and you're teaching them step up, they get up on your arm. If you wait till they're standing on your arm and just standing there and you reward them, what are you rewarding them for? You're rewarding them for standing on your arm. How would they know any different? How could they possibly know any different? If, as that foot just starts to come down on your arm, you say good bird and deliver that treat, you're rewarding them for actually finishing stepping up. But if you give them that reward after they've been sitting on your arm for 2 or 3 seconds, you're rewarding them for just sitting there. So unless you just want to reward a bird for sitting on your arm, that sounds funny, but there are some birds that don't like to sit on arms. You know, they just, would you stop nipping at me, you big toad? We have to do the video, and I like you in the room, so you don't need to tear off my fingers. You just don't want me poking my finger at you? Here, take that. Take that. Take that, you big silly bird. I love you, Cecil. That's my Cecil. Yeah. Yeah, you're just in the nippy mood now with the cameras, aren't you? That's okay. I'm going to keep you in here anyway, because I love you. Yeah, I do. Nippy or not. So at this point, I'm just going to give him a little space here and see if he'll calm down. But if I could get him a toy that he would play with. Yeah, you're not going to play with that? This one could hurt me. This one could hurt me. Well, I'm not trying to hit you with it. Giving you something to play with. You just want me, don't you? Yeah. So reward them for what they're actually doing. The end of the behavior you want. That while they're still in the process of doing it. So you reward them for that last little bit where their foot comes over. Cecil, are you going to try to eat my arm? Maybe I'll have... Bob, would you take care of Cecil for me? Come on. Bob, take care of Cecil. Come on. Get him under control here. He's starting to lose it. Bob, come on. Take care of Cecil for me. Come on. Cecil bird. So the next step is contingency. And the last of the 3 C's, and the Stormy C's of parrot training, is contingency. And that means that they're getting the reward is contingent on the getting them to give you the behavior that you're looking for. So sometimes it's a very small motion. You may simply want them, you're teaching them to wave, so you may simply want them to raise their foot up a little bit, to take the weight off that foot, to lean over on the left foot when you want them to raise the right. It might be just something that's subtle, because eventually you want them to raise the foot, then you want them to get the foot up, and then you want them to do this. So all those things have to be trained in stages. But when they, for example, if you're just starting that, the first time they raise their foot up just a little tiny bit, you're going to reward it. But you're not going to reward other behaviors. So if they lift the left foot, no. You're working on raising the right foot. So stick with just that behavior. The right foot has to come up a little bit. That's what you're working on. Be consistent. So if you got them to where they can raise their foot this much, okay, they're doing that much. They're getting it off, raising it up, whatever it is, just, you know. If I was a parrot, they're raising it that much, okay, so if they go like this, now, once you've started rewarding this behavior at this level, don't reward something down here, okay? The only exception is if they get confused. If they start moving things around and not look like they don't know what's going on, then you can go back and take a step back and reward the earlier behavior. You can do that. And sometimes that's necessary. And be aware of it. If the bird looks like it's getting confused, then you're going to want to do that. The other thing too is if the bird starts to look like it's just losing it, it's not getting what you're saying, and it's, I don't want to say happy. That's what we're trying. So because it's not happy, we're not dealing with labels, right? The bird just doesn't do the behavior and is doing a bunch of other things, or is trying to get off the perch, or isn't showing attention to you, looking at you. Then what you do is have them do like step up or something they already know. Have them do a behavior they already know. Say, good bird, give them a treat, end the session. You don't want them to ever end a session on a bad note. I'm going to mention that again, but that's something that's important. So if you keep those 3 C's in mind while you're working, and you develop your technique and delivery, like imagine that you're in a class learning how to do sign language, right? So you want to sign your name, D-O-N, right? You're learning to do sign language. Well, you're gonna have to form you're gonna form a D a certain way. D-O-N, right? You want to form those letters correctly. Okay? You're not gonna go D-O-N. You know, be consistent. Learn to act like a well-animated animatronic robot. Okay, because it makes it easier. Just like with sign language, you want to have your hand in a certain position when you're signing. Okay, you don't want your hands up here and then your hands down here and your hands over there, unless, of course, the sign calls for it. So that's important. Contiguity, just think contiguous United States, okay, or the contiguous countries in Europe, that kind of thing. You want to have the reward come exactly at the moment that the behavior is just being finished, and not finished, but just being finished. And you don't want to give the reward unless you get exactly the behavior you're looking for. So we talked about this one before, but it's important. An extinction burst, when you're training a bird and you want to go to the next level, you've got them doing one thing. You've got them raising their right foot that far off the leg. That's good. How do you get them to the next level? You get them to the next level of behavior by not rewarding this anymore. And think of the Coke machine, as I talked about before. When you don't get your Coke and you put the money in it, you don't go, oh, well, I guess it just isn't going to give me money today, and walk away. You hit the machine, you go and try to get somebody to give you money, your money back. You do something. You kick the machine, whatever. This extinction burst, they're gonna bring it up like, no reward. No reward. Well, no reward. Well, this. Well, this. Well, this. Oh, rewarded. Now catch the next behavior just as it's done. Now if they raise their foot up and they put it back down, they're putting it back down, and you reward putting it back down, and you're teaching a wave that might work. But if you want them to hold their foot up, you haven't got their foot up high enough yet, don't reward it as it comes down. Reward the actual behavior you want at the exact time. And again, if you can't get it there, use a bridge. Say, good bird. What? You want to eat me? With barbecue sauce or without? You want to eat me, Cecil? I know. You don't like the cameras. I know. But I like having you in here anyway. Yes, I do. You're cute. Yes, I can see. No, we're not going to do that. Come here. Let's do something for Cecil. Come on. He's Cecil the cockatoo. Hello. He's Cecil the cockatoo. Hello. Strong to the finish, 'cause he eats his spinach. He's Cecil the cockatoo. Aren't you? Aren't you Cecil the cockatoo? Yes, you are. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Come here. Come on. Now step up. Step up. He's Cecil the cockatoo. Hello. He's Cecil the cockatoo. Hello. He's strong to the finish, 'cause he eats his spinach. He's Cecil the cockatoo. Yeah. I'm having him do a known behavior so that he's not getting so nippy. At least that's what we're working on, isn't it? We're working on it, aren't we? Okay, well, let's see. Let's talk about some of the basics in training. We'll go through the basic training things here. You have to be patient and in a good mood. If you're in a hurry and you're like, I'm going to train the bird and I got to leave in 15 minutes, don't do it. Don't do it. If you're one of those people, and I've been like that, I had to learn not how to do this, where you say, I've got to fit this in because there's something I do every day and I only have this amount of time, don't train your bird. Just do it the next day. Or if you've been training them at the same time every day, you're going to break your consistency, then just push it off till the next day. If you have been training them at varied times in the same areas and that kind of thing, and everything else is consistent, then it's not going to be a problem for them. So, but just don't do it. You should train in a quiet area that doesn't have a lot of distractions. I don't really have the opportunity to do that kind of training much. Most of the areas around the sanctuary have distractions, but I picked the least distracted area, like right about where Chloe is sitting. That's a fair spot if there's no other birds around. And if you have other birds, it's best to train with a single bird in a place where they aren't disturbed by the others. Think African gray making clicking sound. That's They will interrupt the training, or they'll want to get involved. Right, Bob? You laughed, so you want to get involved, do you? Hi, Peach. Hey, Peaches. Hi, Bob. You should use a reward. We actually call them a reinforcer. There's more than just food that's reinforcing. Petting can be reinforcing. Heat and cold are reinforcing for humans. If you're freezing, heat's nice. But anyway, you want to use a reward that the bird likes, and you want to take it out of its diet and only give it to them when you train. If you have a bird that likes a particular thing and they like having it every day, then, figure a 5-minute, 10-minute training session every day. Right? Really, Peaches? Are you sure? Do you have a second verse? Oh, you do? Oh, that's a good song, Peaches. Where did you learn that song, Peach? Oh, you didn't learn it from me. No, I love you, Peaches. I know. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Oh, look at the pretty girl. Hello. Hello, baby. Hello, beautiful. I can't put Cecil down right now, sweetie. I'm sorry. So, you use that reward. And the other trick is to make sure that you take it out of their diet. Now, we just got in Gloria. She's a female Grand Eclectus. And she looks more like a California condor. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Zoological Society of San Diego called me and said that you can't keep her because she's actually a condor, and condors aren't allowed in in people's homes. I say that because she's so chewed up, the poor thing. But her favorite thing of all is walnuts. She loves walnuts. And she's been here a week, and next week I'm taking walnuts out of her diet. That doesn't mean she won't get walnuts. But she's going to go into a crash training program, so she's going to be getting trained 10 minutes a day, every day, for a couple of weeks, because I have to build a bond of trust with her, and that helps to build a bond of trust. And she wants her walnuts, so she's going to be willing to do a lot of different things that she normally wouldn't do, because the only way she's going to get those walnuts is in training. And from here on out, she's going to be getting walnuts as a reward. Now, she may be out of the cage, and I may just want her to step up and go somewhere, and she'll get her little reward for doing what I'm asking. But, I've actually found, and other trainers say this too, that if you put the food down where they can see it, once they've started being trained and they're used to the routine, they won't go for the food in the bowl. They want the food you hand to them. Because these are social creatures. Aren't you a social creature? Yes, he is. He says, I'm thinking about eating you, but I'm a social creature. I'm a social creature, aren't you? Cecil bird. Your training session should be short. 10 minutes or less. You don't want to push them into lengthy training sessions. There's no point in that. You want to keep it happy for you and keep it happy for them. And some people will try to do longer sessions, but they have the attention span that could actually handle a longer session, but you're going to get much better results if you keep it to 10 minutes or less. And sometimes you can get away with training sessions that are 2 minutes long. It depends on the bird and how much they show interest. You want them to be interested in what you're doing. You want them to be paying attention to you and cueing off of what you're trying to show them. So it's easier if you keep it to a shorter period of time. If your bird is stressed, not feeling well, if they're sick, they're going to be at the vet, right? If you, for example, our truck died, and so here we are. We got no truck, no way to get around. Don't have a second vehicle right now, and it's really important. So get a rental car. I come back 5 hours later when I should have been gone 2. So I get Coco out of the cage, and she's just chasing me around. There's nowhere I can't go that she isn't there with me. And she's crying. Because she hasn't seen me for a longer period than she expected. These guys have a good sense of time too. So because that's the case, I wouldn't train her at that time. She's stressed. Okay, that's what I mean by stress. You've been gone too long. The routine has changed, and you can tell the bird isn't quite fitting into the routine. That's not a time to train. Okay. Let's say you just had a bird who laid an egg that day. That's probably not a good day to train. Okay, their body's going to be somewhat stressed. But just watch to make sure that they're up to it. They need to be up to it. Don't just Cecil. You silly. You're so silly. You give me that look you gave me when I first got you. If while you're training a bird, they seem to lose it, they don't seem to be following what you're saying, go back to an earlier step in the training. So if we're again talking about training to wave, if they've got their right foot, which I could do that with this hand, but he's sitting on it, if they have their right foot this high up and you've just done the extinction burst, you're not giving them any reward for it, and they're just sitting there. They're not doing anything. They're just looking at you. And you can't get them to raise their foot. That's a sign the bird's frustrated. Or if the bird tries to get off the perch, tries to leave, immediately pick something they already know, say step up, get them to step up on your hand, get them to step up again on the other hand, reward them, flood them with praise, say good bird, good bird, good bird, and give them their treat, and end on a happy note. And be done. If they get frustrated, don't keep going. Hey, you're asking for trouble. If you go back to an earlier step where they just raising their foot a little bit, just raising it back a little bit, start rewarding that again, and then reward it, maybe 5 times, with just little pieces. You don't want to overfeed them because they're going to get full, and who wants a piece of chocolate after they've eaten a 5-pound bar? So not quite that bad. You get the idea, right? So then what you do is you just go through the same process. They're doing it down here. Now you take away the treat, and they'll most likely go raise their foot a little higher shortly thereafter. If they seem to be lost again, trying to get off the perch, just sitting there doing nothing, have them do a step up or another behavior that they know, and praise them and treat them, and praise them and reward them, and start again another day, the next day that your normal training is set up for. Now, when you reward a bird, it's important that you show a large amount of emotion. Okay, we tend as humans to often say, "Oh, that's great! It's cool. I'm glad you liked it," or whatever, or like that. But if you look at deaf people when they say it, they don't do that, and they're good people to watch to learn how to train birds, because a person who is deaf won't say, and they can talk. I mean, some deaf people can talk about, I don't know what the percentage is, but they're, I like their language. I wish I knew it better. I only know a little bit of sign language, and I wish I'd gone on to learn more because it's really beautiful. But here's the thing. They don't say, "Yeah, I'd like to go to the movies with you." They don't do that. It's just, "Yeah, I'd like to go to the movies with you." So when you say, good bird, you want to say it like that. Good bird. You're going to learn to be a little more animated. If you find it difficult to do that, you're not going to get the same kind of reaction because they don't understand the words. They understand the sounds you're making. Okay, good bird. Add to that the head motion. Good bird. Add to that the modulation of your voice. Good bird. You're going to get a lot more with good bird than you're going to get with good bird. You really need to get the emotion in there. And lastly, don't cheat the bird, okay? For example, if you're handing over, and I'm using this hand, okay, which I don't ever use, I always train with my right, just easier than trying to remember how I've worked, okay? Just if you start consistency and you keep it thorough in your head, you won't have a problem. But if you hand over it, if you're trying to get the bird to step over your other arm while you're training to step up, and you get the treat too close and the bird can reach over and grab it without stepping up or getting its foot on you, let them have the treat anyway. Do not pull back. That's like your boss handing you your check, and then as you grab for it, they pull it away. Just imagine how that feels. These guys notice that kind of thing. So I've seen a couple of trainers, great trainers, make that mistake, but because they've done everything else right, the bird lets it slide. They were consistent about how they did everything. They consistently brought the treat over with their arm just the same way every time. It's just that they made a little mistake and they pulled back. I've seen that, and the bird allowed it. But it's not something you want to do. You want to avoid that. You don't want to cheat them because once they've been cheated a few times, they don't trust you anymore, and they don't trust that you're going to actually reward them, and that breaks their training. Because once you've established these basics with them, they'll learn all kinds of things. It's really limitless. If I were only working with one bird, I could probably have it on a TV show. But with me, the important thing is that they have to know how to let you touch their wings. Right, Cecil? I'm choosing the bird that's actually the most stressed right now. They have to be able to do all the veterinary behaviors. You have to be able to look in their beak and see what's inside their beak. You got to be able to touch them all over so you can make sure that they're physically okay. All right? Right? Yeah. You got to be able to look at their nares and clean them out if they need it. Touch their face and look under their crest if they're a cockatoo. Got to be able to do all of those things, and that's what I work on is the veterinary behaviors, so that when you take a bird into the vet, when I took Bob in, so I'm going to have to look at his cloaca, and I just flipped him over and handed him to the vet. These are critical. The first behaviors you want to teach are those, because when you go to an avian vet and the bird doesn't get stressed, it's used to being handled like that, you're giving your bird a great experience with a vet, and that takes a ton of stress off them. If you have a bird that gets sick and you take them to the vet and they're not used to being handled that way, you're adding stress upon stress. And you don't want your bird to be stressing or breathing really hard and their heart palpitating. You don't want that. So if you teach them the veterinary behaviors, make it easy to handle them, then not only are you doing a great service for the bird, the vet will appreciate it too. Don't you think, Cecil? Don't you think, Cecil? So to sum up, the 3 C's of parrot training: consistency, contiguity, and contingency. You need all 3 to make it work. Break one of them, and bets are off. Who knows whether you'll succeed? And then keep in mind those training tips. It's important to assure that you have a good area to train your bird in, that they're used to being trained. Now here's something else. That's pretty much all the summary I need is those 3 C's. But once they get used to learning with you, it's like a kid going into class. When they first go into kindergarten, they're all over the place. They hand them stuff. They're using crayons to draw stuff, and they're kind of out of control. A kindergarten teacher, the first thing they have to teach is the children the control to sit in a seat and to pay attention. Those are big things. Some of that's done in preschool, but the point is that they have to learn to sit in certain situations and pay attention and to do things on cue. All right, children, break out your pencils. And we're going to start working on the alphabet. Very good, Chloe. Now, she's not going to let you do that. She's not going to let you sit there very long. Chloe, that's her spot. She's not going to let you sit there.
Hello.
Chloe, get down on your perch.
Hello.
Chloe, come on, baby. Come on down here. Come on. I don't know how long you can make it up there, Chloe, but I'll let you try. That's a good girl. Good girl. Good girl, Chloe. Good girl. Good girl. I know. So break out your pencils, and we're going to start practicing the letter A. Okay? The mere fact sitting in a chair, getting the pencils and paper out, writing the A. It's the same with these guys. Once they get used to that training perch and the way you train, you can train anywhere. You can train on the fly. Did I say that? You can train on the fly. And just hope they're not blood-sucking flies from India. But you can train anywhere because they're ready to listen to you. They understand the cues. Give them time. These birds... Hi. Hi, beautiful. Once they... Sorry. Would you leave him alone? He was getting your back. He was getting your back. Cecil. So they're going to be set. They're going to understand. I'm on the perch. It's like sitting at the table. He's got the rewards there. That's the pencil and paper. And now we're going to start learning. So get him in that mindset. You start working with these tools. You're going to find that you're going to be able to shape behavior, not only when you need it, but just for fun. And also for their own health and safety. So that's it for Cockatude 41. Lorelai, you've never said goodbye. Come here. Come on. Lorelai's going to say goodbye to the people. Lorelai, say goodbye to the people. Lorelai. Laurel fly. We'll see you next time. Good training.
We welcome your feedback on our videos. We look forward to your insights, tips, questions, stories, and pictures. You can email us at cockatude@chloesanctuary.org, reach us on Twitter @Chloe Sanctuary, and join with us on our Facebook Chloe Sanctuary page.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.